What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the podcast. My name is Robbie Cassidy, and on this episode of the podcast, I want to talk through a little bit of the idea of changing your perspective, your identity, the person you are as you go through your journey of overcoming an injury and overcoming a back injury or whatever type of injury you're dealing with. And I want to do this because I think, especially when we're looking at the back pain group that we work with and the one-to-one clients, a lot of it is as you start to get through and you see these improvements, it's important to realize that where your next destination is and what you're trying to go to and why it's important to start to incorporate movement back into what you're doing. So I guess to start into it, as we dive deeper into the journey of pain and understanding, we are always concerned with this idea of changing your identity. And instead of going after the person that you once were, like before, a lot of people are chasing that the younger version of themselves where they're trying to get back and do all these activities. Oftentimes it can be better to change your perspective and then look at this new person that you can become. So with clients, it's a huge part of the work we do is trying to break free from this idea of who I am versus my pain and what I am. And the thing is that we have to realize, and it can be hard to get this out of your mind at the start, is that you are not your pain. They're two separate things, two separate entities. And just because right now it could be the only thing that clouds your mind, it could be the entire focus of your day, the two of them are separable. And for people, this is for those who are in that deeper end of pain, who haven't really seen the light in a long time. They should be separable. There should be a big change there. And if you've ever found yourself using that phrase of, I can't because of my back, or my back won't let me do that, or I can't go for a hike, or I can't go for a run, we need to realize that these phrases and this language is solidifying the identity of somebody who we don't want to be anymore. So it's going to be important as you start to progress through your journey and as you start to understand your pain better, that these are going to be let go. In fairness, they were good while they lasted and they were very helpful. They helped you through times when you needed it, and they probably kept you in a safe place when things were turbulent around you. But now it's all about change. When you're looking to improve and when you're actually following structure, when you're following a plan and you're not just shooting in the dark and trying to guess what works or trying a couple of exercises or taking just anti-inflammatories and painkillers or just going for massage and hoping that works or laser or looking to get another surgery, even though you've had 3 surgeries already and none of them fixed it, you're still going down this path of, okay, I just one more is going to fix me. There's a little bit of an addiction or an obsession in a lot of ways of that, because even though we know it hasn't worked for us multiple times in the past, we still hold on to this bit of hope that if they cut one more thing out that could work, or if they burn one more nerve that we could be okay. And that's, there's a lot of problems in that, because the idea itself, you're just targeting the wrong system. That's what you're doing when you're going in there. If you've been dealing with chronic back pain that flares up, calms down, takes control of your life for a while, you can't unfortunately just go in and cut that out, because that's a neurological issue. That's something that needs to be taken care of. The system itself needs to change. The alarm system, the pain system in your body is on hyper alert. It's hyper aware of any change. And then obviously this is kind of whittling down and we haven't realized that takes control of us. So when we start to change our perspective of, okay, we need to go after these mechanical fixes all the time, and we look at it holistically and we take a step back and we look at our lifestyle overall, then we can start to understand our pain better. And then we can understand that not every flare-up that we're getting is actually a bad thing. Sometimes you actually have to befriend your flare-up, would you believe? And a simple example, I was in the gym last night with a friend and we were going through it, and he's coming back from an MCL injury in his knee. So he had a grade 2 MCL injury, which is grade 2 is a significant amount of fibers torn in the ligament on the inside of the knee, so the medial aspect of the knee. And he was saying to me, is it normal as I get back to training that I get this pain? And it was funny because I was there and I was training away and I was trying to think, what's the best way of phrasing this? And I said to him, look, you actually should want that in a lot of ways. And for people who have this fear of pain, or people who are in this chaotic environment now that pain controls them, That might sound a bit crazy, it might sound a bit reckless, but in this situation, you have to consider that he's trying to get back into playing football at a high level. So it's going to be a lot of explosive activity. He's going to need tolerance. He's going to need cardio. He's going to need to be able to take hits. It's going to be a chaotic environment. So the body's going to need to adapt to that. And if he's going to be afraid of every pain that he gets when he's coming back with the knee, he's going to slow his progress. Because what he's dealing with now is he goes to training on Tuesday night, and then it was a Wednesday night, so it's the day after training. It was still a little bit sore. That's because he pushed it the night before. That is a positive pain. That's a good thing. If we treat every pain as a bad thing, then we're never going to progress. So in this way, I was saying to them, like, you need to change your relationship with pain in a lot of ways. We don't always need to avoid it. And in cases like that, where it's a positive pain, you need to befriend it. You need to be happy that you were able to push it. And now you take care of the recovery side. And now you take care of the rehab outside of it. You don't just push it and then hope for the best. You push it, you manage it right, you load it right, you pull back, you let it recover, you let it adapt. And that's the big thing about the body, is it's so strong, it's so adaptable. You just need to put it in the right situation. So when we realize we don't always need to avoid pain, and if you've been dealing with a more chronic pain or chronic issue, then you need to understand when is it a good pain and when is it a bad pain. Because if the alarm system is going off all the time, every pain will seem like a bad pain, but some of them can be very beneficial. And when it is beneficial, you kind of have to lean into it. You need to test it out. And you need to reinforce that it's okay to move through it. And so this is how we reprogram the alarm, and this is how we turn down that sensitivity. And not only does it change how we view the pain, when you are leaning into the pain, it changes how it actually feels, which is crazy. It changes how we trust our body. See, movement itself is going to be a processor. It can be an emotional processor, it can be a physical processor. Anyone who's been pissed off at the end of a week of work and you just feel like you're uptight and you've all this energy, you can go for a walk and it can help to clear your head. Or you can go to the gym, or you can do a training session. And these things will help to relax you down. So it's an emotional or a physical processor. And what we're doing is we're shifting this energy and we're changing this form of energy to something that's a bit more friendly. The movement continues to change us then and helps us to break free from this identity. So in the short term, it can be an offloader, or it can help you to recover. And that's something that we talk about in the back pain group all of the time. And with one-to-one clients is, you get this flare up. Do you need to offload, or do you need to recover from that flare up? Is there too much energy in the body that needs to be put into something, or is the body just run down that you need to recuperate and get that energy back again? But when we start to break free from this identity of, okay, I need to be careful, I have this safety net, I need to be safe, I need to be smart about what I do, then your movement actually starts to become more of an expression. It becomes an expression of who you are, and it can be a way of expressing ourselves in multiple different domains. What I mean by that, and I'll go into that in more detail in a second, but before, when you're dealing with an issue or a chronic issue, or even a long-term injury, the movement was something to be feared. You didn't want to do anything wrong in case you injured yourself. People who are listening to this could have that same, memory of the initial injury where you step off a step wrong, your back goes, or you bend down, you pick something up off the ground, and then you're only met with this shot of pain, or your back goes into spasm. So it's a traumatic event, and it can have long-term consequences to how you deal with pain in the future, because it feels like you did something so small wrong and you damaged your body. And what will happen then is you start to retreat into yourself, start closing off our safety net around us and what we perceive as safe. Before, we used to deadlift, we used to RDL, we used to go for runs, used to jump on the bike, you might go and play on the trampoline with kids, you might just run around the garden, you could go for hikes, okay? But as you pick up this injury, and when you can't relate it to anything, and it feels like it was, geez, I just stepped off a step, now you start closing off that safety net. And as you close it off, if you're not conscious of what you're doing, everything around you starts to become a threat. Even the like of booking a trip to go on holidays with your family or your friends, or going for a hike with somebody. And we don't realize that this small incident, which obviously was a traumatic one, it has a lasting impact on the injury itself and how long the injury stays around because of our reactions and behaviors after it, but then on our lives, as well as a huge impact on our identity and what we feel we can do or what our body will allow us to do. So if you're looking to change this, you need to take a step back and you need to look at the way things are going for you at the moment. I want you to think about the direction that you're moving in. And if you're dealing with a pain right now, if things continue going in this direction, what will it be like in 6 months' time? What you'll notice is that slowly but surely your goals that you once had start to become smaller and smaller as you lose confidence in your body. And you really start to lose confidence in yourself. It's not a nice place to be in, and so many of us stay there for much longer than is necessary. And it's something that I struggled with myself after I tore my ACL last year. People were asking me to do things that I once would have loved to do and really enjoyed, but instead I said no, and I blamed it on my knee. I said I can't do that just in case of this. And only when I started to move out of that place of fear and into a place where I was willing to try the things that I actually started to begin to move faster. But it does take time, but you can improve. For some people that I speak to, it's a light bulb moment. They heard the right thing at the right time, and it's like an epiphany that they need to change. And for others, it's a build up over time that you're consistently seeing that it's not going in the direction that you want it to go. But as you start to come out of that shell and you start to expand that safety net again, and you start to regain your confidence in yourself and your body to do things that you wanted to do. You start to build up evidence in the background to show that you can do them. You start to move into a place where movement isn't a way to be. It defines who you are. And then you can start to see that fire burning again. This is what I even noticed myself, is your identity of a sports person, of an athlete, of an active person, of a healthy parent, of the person who's looking to continue to grow stronger as they get older and not ready to just whittle and give up and push away. And you can start to see yourself in other people. You start to see yourself in your role models. You can start to rebuild your life. You can start to rebuild your activities around your life. And your fire does really start burning. And the thing is now, as you start to regain this movement, you have the option of, when your kids come in and you bend down to pick up your child off the ground, that doesn't just mean that you're bending over and the back issue is gone. That means that you're a father. If you start going for a run, it means that you're an athlete. Or if one of your friends is struggling and you're able to go for a walk or a hike, or you can take some time away, that means that you're a friend to that person. So our new goal and the new path, it's much more enjoyable, because before you were fearful and you lived in this life of avoiding absolutely everything just in case anything made it worse. And that's what we are looking to get out of. And that's why I say that in that situation, if you want to be that parent, if you want to be someone who your kid looks up to, you need to start changing your direction. And you need to start setting a few goals and have an objective of what you're working towards. And it's possible to get there. All you do is you put in a bit of structure in place. You look at it holistically and you get rid of this mindset that everything is mechanically based. I'll just straight out and tell you now, if you're going to continue in the medical system, you will continue down the path of being told that your pain is mechanically based. It's in your spine. It's one of your discs. It's funny that the medical system hasn't caught up with this yet. Multiple reasons why. You could say like multiple reasons why we can point towards of the benefits of certain treatments versus other ones, and the profitability of certain treatments over other ones, and the necessity to have a quick fix within the medical system is something that drives the responses and the treatments and the interventions that you get, but there is other ways to do it. And you can start to work on it by building up your confidence in your body and start to build evidence in the background. And this is what we do. This is what I do myself with all of the clients that I work with in our Back Pain Back to Exercise group. Our focus is rebuilding that confidence. And as we rebuild the confidence, then we can start to see the patterns. Even though, and the funny thing is, people jump on board with me, week one, they consistently say the same thing. I say, what patterns do you notice in your pain? People say, there's no patterns, it's random. And I say, okay, that's grand. For the next 2 weeks, I want you to focus on your sleep, and I want you to focus on your hydration, and I want you to see how this relates to the pain that you have. And then they'll start to notice that, okay, if I didn't get my hydration up to this amount on a certain day, or if my sleep had dropped off on a certain day, or after certain activities, there was pain. Well, perfect. That's a pattern that we can work on and we can improve on it. Okay, so there is ways of doing this, but you have to understand your patterns. And when I say a holistic approach, it's a principles first approach. You build on the foundations, the lowest hanging fruit, so that you can take care of everything from your sleep, your hydration, your diet, your stress management, and your movement. And that's your principles first. And then you rely on the stress and adaptation system. The stress and adaptation system is the body or any organism in nature's way of survival. Okay, you put a little bit of stress on it, you pull back, you let it adapt, you let it get stronger so it can handle that stress the next time. That's as simple as it is. But the only way that happens is if you have all the foundations right as well to allow it to adapt. Okay, if you look at any organism in nature, that is how it works. It's very simple. It's stress and adaptation. And that's why within rehab, your rehab should be focused on that. If your rehab is focused on foam rolling, if it's focused on massage or stretching or electrocurrent, or if it's focused on TENS machines or laser, none of that drives stress versus adaptation. None of it does. What it does is it kind of overloads the system so you feel a little bit better, and it gives you a good story to believe in at the time. That's what it does. That's why I have a big issue with it. They're short-term fixes, but they don't drive that background of like the organism having to change. And once you do, and you set your mind so that you stop focusing on what you do today and what you can do tomorrow, instead what you do today helps you tomorrow, you change your perspective to that, then you'll start to see these things improve. Now, if this is something that you're interested in, I speak about my own struggles with injuries. I talk about the obstacles that was needed to overcome with my ACL, and I had 2 bulging discs in my neck, and how I had to start to get back in confidence. If that's something you're interested in, I'm going to drop a link in the description of this podcast for a YouTube video that I put out, and it's the back pain fix I wish I knew earlier. And in that video, I discuss all of these. I discuss my own story and how I had to understand pain better, how I had to understand the stress and adaptation system better so I could get back to competing in jiu-jitsu and get back to competing in football and overcome these injuries. And I'll drop it below. Check it out. Let me know what you think. I would love to hear what you thought of that as well. The other thing is, today, I suppose we're kind of coming to the end of this podcast, but if you did enjoy it, if you like it, I'd love to hear more from you. But I would honestly really love it if you could rate it 5 stars, and if you could subscribe to it wherever you heard it. Spotify, on iTunes, on YouTube. It helps massively in getting it out to more people and getting the message to more people as well. And honestly, if you know anyone that would benefit from it, I'd love if you could shoot it over to them also. The last thing then on that is, if you are a parent or professional who's struggling with back pain, or if you've lost confidence in your body, if this podcast resonates with you and resonates with the way that you were thinking before, and now you want to change the way you're thinking and you want to start changing the way your pain is in your body and you want to regain that confidence, get back to exercise, I would say check out the link in the description for our Back Pain Back to Exercise program. We're also working with people one-to-one in our select group, but that only applies to very specific population. So if you click the link in the bio, go through it, set up a call, we can talk through which one is the best fit for you. In the program, we're consistently getting people back into exercise and into activities that honestly they felt that they would never be able to do again. And I love it. We jump on calls every couple of weeks. We talk through everyone's details. Like we were able to lay out action plans, and we can give you clear direction, which you've probably been lacking. And we're not going to say, this is your diagnosis, this is what you need to fix. We'll show you everything around it. We'll continue to build evidence in your favor, and then we can start to understand what could be the main contributors. Okay, we're not going to be quick to just point at another thing and say this is the problem. So if you feel like you've been lost, if you feel like you have been stuck in this haze of cycle and of pain and you don't really know what to do, you can't really see the forest from the trees, or if you feel like there's no light at the end of the tunnel, I would definitely say to check out that link and check out the testimonials that we have there and some of the success stories that we've had so far. But overall, just for anyone else who's listening in, thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it, and I hope you're doing well. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to me at info@themobilitytutor.com. You can check me out on LinkedIn at Robbie Cassidy, or to be honest, the place that I'm most active is Instagram at Robbie Cassidy _ or OBBIE CASSIDY and a little underscore. You can shoot me any messages you have there. But that's all from me this week. Thank you so much for listening. I'll chat to you all again very soon. Have a good one.